to the state of mind. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to do, you know?
And then you
Like,
can
hey,
I love
that.
yeah, hello, beautiful people. Steph, hello. Tim, what's up?
What
Hello
up?
there, good sir.
Hey,
Get in there.
I think we're all overly excited for this. So definitely let's give just a small shout out of an apology right offhand if we start kind of jumping in here because it is exciting. The excitement from the people on our platform of TikTok, which it is, and some others, is just overly amazing in the small vastness of what we have, but it's real eye popping. And just trying to use this platform and create this place where people can kind of give their thought and their process out to kind of explain how you feel. And it's nobody's right, nobody's wrong, and we shouldn't have to feel we need to be defensive or offensive to someone else just because we have an opinion.
We are not here to change your minds. We are here to open them. But yeah, this is Try State of Mind with Vinnie, Tim, and Stephanie. And Tim, you've been pretty quiet. Let's go. Hey.
Time to climb in that beautiful mind of yours, sir.
Oh, I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah. No, this is good. I've been excited to do this and be able to share ideas and conversation with you guys and really share with the world so we can kind of open some minds out there, man. Get people more comfortable with the idea of having these types of conversations because that's the only thing that's going to change anything.
I'm Vinny. The overall goal and idea and wanting to start, the tri-state of mind was to give a place where people could come to listen who felt, kind of in the same idea and means of thinking that we do. It's not that any of us are correct. I'm not stating the things that I say is what it is and what you may have to follow, Tim nor Steph, in the same fashion or way. We're all learning on this journey as we walk it together. No one had a book. Everyone's life is different, and we all come from different aspects, and we've all had different things happen to us. So just a little compassion, a little kindness, a little care, and understanding that comes with warrant and you wanting to protect you and, yours, which is valid. But it doesn't have to come at the expense of others. So,
amen, brother.
Exactly right.
We're all in this together.
Yes, sir. Yep. So my name's Tim. How we doing? I am a geopolitical pundit and spiritual guide, as well as a self-proclaimed anarchist. And my goal here is basically just to kind of help give people a vision of the version of the world that we were all supposed to inherit, not the version that people built and forced us to live within. So I like getting into the real deep conversations and just trying to offer a different perspective to kind of get people thinking a little bit more critically rather than just going along with the status quo.
So critically thinking. You guys miss that? Or common sense, maybe? I don't know.
Common sense is not common any longer.
Anyways, I'm Stephanie. Or, better known as From Dirt We Grow. I'm here with my TikTok fam.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Give our views and see what your perspective, you guys, is a hell of a thing. So
correct. And it's difficult. Like some people, like the thing that I get from a lot of people most is that, when they see somebody like, us that stands up and says this things that we do in a sense, they feel validated. And some people are scared to come out and say things like that for many different reasons, and rightfully so. Like who would want to stand out in the middle of a wide open place and just shout something completely different from, what society would like you to think and the way that they would, what they would like you to believe. It's just sometimes it feels like a lonely pool, and to find people like us together, it's just, creates a safe space where people have literally came out of their shells in a sense too, and have stood up and started creating themselves and standing out, and it makes a difference.
Along their lines, I feel like fear is a huge guiding factor in a lot of people's lives. It's fear of being alone. It's fear of being rejected. It's fear of the unknown. It's fear of just basic differences in people. And I feel like that's a good place to start as far as opening minds and getting people to see that like differences in people should be celebrated and not feared. How do we guys? What do you think?
Well, I think it starts with having the type of conversations that we have. you know, especially with the way that we've developed the group that we have on TikTok, especially when we get together consistently every night and we're able to share ideas and talk about the current events and things like that. You know, it all starts with a conversation. I've noticed that, like, I see what we're living in right now is a world in which people are pretty much walking on eggshells. Nobody really knows what to talk about, you know, and everybody's afraid to really touch on those deeper subjects because that, like you said, Steph, the fear, you know, everybody's afraid. They're afraid of even saying the wrong thing because, you know, you just, all you have to do is turn on your nightly evening news and there's some type of fear mongering story out there about somebody, you know, getting in trouble for thinking the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing. So we're all kind of in this we're all in the same room. We want to talk about these things, but we're afraid to because, you know, now they're making things so illegal that, I mean, even just the wrong words are enough to get you caught up, you know, in the wrong people, with the wrong people. So yeah, we got to figure out how to convince people to become more comfortable to have these conversations because you see, when you walk out your house every single day, you go to the store or you go to, like in my experience, when I work at the shop, nobody talks about these things. They're just coming in, doing business as usual, you know, acting like life is normal. When in reality, we're just winging it. Nobody has no clue what we're doing right now
Right.
because everything is just so crazy. It's volatile. The zone is flooded with all sorts of different ways we could go, different topics we could talk about or argue about, as people like to do. And so I think really, you know, we just got to try to figure out where we can start to, you know, find some common ground and start talking to our neighbor again. We're also isolated, you know, we're alone. Everybody's just in their house, in their room. I don't see neighbors walking around in my neighborhood.
All right.
Nobody builds that connection anymore.
What we're used to being in our TikTok lives, like we keep saying, we keep
Oh
bringing up
no, for
TikTok.
sure.
We love TikTok shop.
Hmm.
But I feel like sometimes we get too comfortable in the fact that a lot of people know us. So I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of people in here that don't know us as well. Like you said, you know, I work at the shop, and like, no, a lot of people don't know that. So hopefully, we'll let you guys and get to know us,
No,
as we
facts.
go along.
Yeah, hopefully we can dive into a few possible people running for certain seats. Maybe get some people in upon this to get some conversation churning in the right direction for the right people. Uh, we, you know, I
Love
think
it, love it.
we can take the tiny power that be and we can turn it into a mountain from a molehill if we push the narrative and make sure that these people's voices are heard too, because we all know that we can pull an attraction. Like, it's just, you know, it's what we do. It's the compassion. It's the way people understand what we talk about. And even though sometimes I may get aggressive, Steph may get aggressive. Every so often, Tim gets aggressive, and I'm so upset I missed it. But you know, the fact of being able to sit here and, you know, just create something more beneficial than just us, and that's the thing that I want to make sure that everybody understands out of this podcast. It's not, you're not going to hear a lot of me and I. You're going to hear a lot of we and us. Not only did we put this forward, but we're already having a spot pushed on TikTok for the family to turn around and have one of our amazing people, Eric, turn around and possibly run that after show to have a conversation about said podcast or anything that we speak of, for a place for people to feel comfortable and talk. Like,
Now, is
it's
this news to
generating more
Tim?
for everybody.
Is that news to you, Tim, or did Bo kind of talk about that with you yet? Because I feel like that would be news to you. Because I didn't
No,
talk.
I think
We
that's
haven't
news
talked.
to Tim.
That's news to Tim right
What, with
there.
Eric doing
But
an after
news,
show?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't know anything about that.
yeah. So
I didn't think
we're
so.
gonna, and it doesn't mean like,
Sure.
it's not that we have to be there. Right? Just, you know, how that our people have talked to us about wanting to be a part and be, you know, and we can't have 60 people in here. So being able to open up that on there and allowing, you know, people want to help us, so allowing them to be able to run that. And we've had people come into our lives on TikTok lately and open their cameras up and, you know, sit there and talk with us, and like everybody the other night just turned their cameras on and everybody was just talking. Like, it felt like we gave them a sense of freedom to come and feel safe to the fact that, you know, you have who knows staring at you, who knows listening to you, and that's a scary
Hmm.
thought as well too. And we've given them that place where they were like, you know what, here I am, you know, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Oh, it was. You're right. What kind of like I didn't even think of or Vinny. Sorry, I don't know who to call you
Hey,
now.
whatever. That's how they know me too. Yeah,
Well, if you hear Dirt from now on, that's me because everybody's
yeah.
calling me Dirt.
Right,
That's
right.
my name.
I'm Boquetta,
Oh,
From the
yeah.
dirt we
What kind
grow.
of Dirt, Tim, Orange? I mean, come on, we're all over the
Orange.
place. But you'll get to know us. You'll like as a like I brought up Big Brother. You ever watch Big Brother? And how
Hmm.
they do like the behind the scenes or the after the cameras stop rolling or whatever it is, after the show
Right.
stops, they go in and you can watch them. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like that, like an after the show kind of recap or follow up
It
or
is.
if like I said, I always say if I can thank the orange guy for anything at all, it's bringing my family together, my TikTok family. So there's a little bit of love for you,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think we've put together a
but
really
it's
good
not
group so
all love
far, and
here,
that's
right? We
right.
have some differences. It seems like we're all on the same page about everything, but we're really not, are we, Tim?
No,
No, not at
we're
all. I mean,
not.
I think we kind of have like the same end goal, what we would like
Yeah.
to see, which is positive change for everybody. We just have different ideas on the the method, that word,
Path.
Right.
on how to get there. Everybody has different ideas and different strategies and things that they think might work, at least, in the direction of like just trying to benefit life for everybody. Because that's what it's all about. What do we do? What kind of action can we take in order to try to create a better life for everyone? Because I think everyone can pretty much agree that what we've got going on right now is definitely not it. I mean, every single
Mm.
day is pretty much the same thing: lather, rinse, repeat. Wake up, get dressed, go to work, come home, too tired to do anything else.
Because if I can hit the bell for the first time on here, it's kind of crazy how we got money to go to the moon, but all of a sudden we couldn't feed all of these people and go ahead and take care of all of these people. Like, and that's what the conversation is about, is opening eyes to the fact of the simplicity of life and what goes on in it. Like, we have to understand that this is built so well, the system is so intricate that you are so tethered and tied, and you want to sit and have this feel of being a part of this greatness that's maybe not what we all kind of think it is, and but it definitely needs to be more incorporated for the people that fund it, the people that work to build it, that have worked to build it. We're all a part of it.
Yeah. Well said. I like it.
Mhm.
I like it.
We need to
Let's
Well,
bring
see
the
it's
it.
a system
priorities
that
back,
built.
right?
Yeah, it's a
Or get
system
them
that
back
built.
in order.
Exactly. The
Right.
whole thing has been built on lies and slavery. Really, it's always been about lies and slavery. I mean, we're reaching a point in history now where, thanks to the invention of the internet, for the first time, humanity really has the ability to kind of converse and talk about these things and exchange these ideas on a global scale. Whereas before, the internet was even a thing, it was all community based. You maybe didn't get the message outside of the village, or if you did, it was maybe a couple of villages, or maybe just one small nation that knew what was going on. But now, for the first time, we have the ability to kind of talk about these things and exchange these ideas on a mass scale. And really, this is our best opportunity to try to create this critical mass of awakening, where we can finally get people to understand that you've been lied to. The version of life that you were supposed to live was stolen from you before you were even a thought in your parents' minds. And I think a lot of people get stuck in the debates because everybody's trying to come up with solutions, but the solutions they're coming up with are still based on the education they received in the school system, which I think a
Correct.
lot of us are figuring out is a bunch of bull. Even the curriculum is all
Correct.
false. It's all made up. So
Right.
like people walk
And
out. I
then
mean, people walk out of
Yeah.
the educational system with either a high school diploma or a college degree, and they think they've received this great education from people they're trusting with giving them this information about how the world is, how it works, and how it worked in the past. Come to find
right.
out, that's not really how it is at all. Everything that we've been taught is absolutely untrue, which is necessary to the function of the machine, to the machine as a whole. They had to create that and really develop that complexity that starts attacking us from childhood and then keeps us down into adulthood. Nobody has a clue what's going on because the information was false from the start. So when we try to come up with all these different ideas, a lot of the logic that they attack it from is from the logic that they were raised on. They can't even fathom or imagine the type of world that, like in my content on TikTok specifically, I see it because I've zoomed out far enough to kind of imagine, like, okay, why is this the way that it is? And why couldn't we do the alternative?
Right.
But they've been trained to think so
Willing for the what
small.
if. Right.
Right. Yeah. Everybody's been trained to think so small rather than really looking at how big this thing really is and how big we all are. We're all told from birth that we were born broken, that we were born damaged, that we're born sinners, or whatever version of, whatever of that we've been told from the get. And we're so much bigger than that. But the system lives and thrives on us thinking the opposite. That's why they teach us the opposite. We are their biggest fear. If we all realize just how big and how powerful we are as a collective, then the whole system would cease to function because we'd realize that we don't need them. They need us.
Exactly.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Burn, yo.
There's situations for everybody to have disagreements, but just as three people right now can sit here and come together to create a podcast that don't fully agree in the ways that we all think with each other, we just have similar ideas and are able to put our differences aside for the prosperity of for a more bigger benefit for everyone around us, and that's it.
Okay. That's a huge thing that you just said because all of us are going to have to come together, whether or not we agree. And I know there are some people that it's impossible, but the ones that we do have anything in common with, we need to come together and grasp onto that commonality and use that. And the other little, they're not little, but the other things that we disagree on are kind of in the middle, and they would only be in the way if we let that be the focal point of our banter. Like if we just be going back and forth trying to get each other to see our points.
And it sounds like you kind of encountered one of those all or nothing personalities, right? Where not only do they want to have their cake at the end of the finish line, but they want all the other steps in between, right? They're not willing to sacrifice maybe some of the smaller things that are less paramount to the end goal. They very much want that, and I think a lot of people kind of fall into that same boat. A lot of people that argue and have these debates. Well, it's that all or nothing mentality. I have to be right on every point. I have to achieve and gain all of the things that I want, every single part of my plan and my solution, rather than kind of looking at the bigger picture as what I call like a Venn diagram, right? If you know what a Venn diagram is, it's those circles, right? You can either have two circles side by side, or three circles, or four, whatever. But in the center of the Venn diagram is a section where the circles meet, they intersect, they overlap, right? And then there's a section of each circle that's outside. If society would start treating itself as kind of this Venn diagram of existence, and people start to focus on the things that fall into the areas of where the circles interlap, and use those commonalities to achieve those big end goals, and then the things that fall outside, which would include maybe like cultural differences, or differences in experience, or whatever. Those are the smaller things that have no effect on say like how my life affects Vinnie, or Steph's life affects me. That's the small stuff. The big stuff that does affect our collective existence is the stuff that would fall in the overlapping sections of the circles. Those are the parts where we need to focus. But nowadays, I feel like there's far too many people who not only want what they see in the middle parts of the Venn diagram, they want their outside parts too, and they want everybody else to want those outside parts.
No, very well
See,
said.
Now we know why we brought Tim along for the ride.
Oh no, for sure.
One, guys.
No, correct. But like this is where we're at. This is the understanding that we all have, is that there's a few, like, there's people that got to a certain point, and at the highest point, this is all about the overall mighty power of the dollar. So if you have more of it, you're just at a higher ranking in life per se for what the system is set for now. So when you're able to control such a vast amount of things, like you're holding more of a placement over everyone else, when literally, if you get down to the basic thought of process of humanity, we all came here the same way on one ball that we were all born on together. So to say that any of us deserve any less of this thing, regardless of who made it, what came from it, it all came from this ball we were on. They're taking away from us. This is people taking things that weren't theirs and now having a control over that and trying to use it to hold power over people. It just needs to come
they've
to
put
the
up a barrier on it,
understanding.
and they're charging admission for access. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And it
Absolutely.
doesn't have to get down to that extent, because once there's enough people who have the thought process like we do, like the people that follow us do, is the understanding that we don't have to be the figure, we don't have to be the star, we don't have to be the show. We just have to guide everything the right way so everybody has. This is why people want to come to this place in America so bad, because they feel that they have the land of freedom and or opportunity. And the opportunity of what? To give your money away to a place that wants you to work constantly for them, to turn around and fund all of the stuff that they feel like doing, even though you say, hey, no, hey, no, hey, no, and they still do so.
That's exactly what we're all tired of. So that's exactly why we're here. And we're not going to give away too much now, y'all. I think we got to stop.
Wow, we could go for
Stop
days.
here.
Boy,
And
I
I
know,
know
right?
that's the problem, but that's the thing. But I think we gave everybody a good idea of kind of who we are. But where we differ, I think that'll come out as we go along, especially when we start to bring candidates up in here if Volketa gets his way. So I think that'll
no,
be
for
that'll be
sure.
good.
And no, listen, but that's the
Our way.
beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, is to get to that understanding of the difference too, and just show people how we could still have that indifference and still want to
And
create
still
the
love
same
each
thing.
other.
Right.
We definitely are here to create kind of a unique platform, and just understand that we're all people that are trying to find betterment for our lives. And we hope to create a place when you come here to allow you to be open and honest in a sense. And listen, we all kind of misinterpret certain conversations. This is a platform where, in a sense, you can kind of step on that footing and be safe, in a sense, not to where you can be irrational and rude. That's my job, but to where you can be, open and actually ask a question that maybe doesn't seem like it's able to be asked in today's society, in a sense. And
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, the goal here is to give people just a little bit of a different perspective on things. Maybe, you know, address things from angles that perhaps people hadn't thought about looking at things, or offering different lenses, you know, through which they can see things. I know that for me personally, that's my goal, is to kind of break things down for people at a fundamental level. You know, so that they finally have an opportunity really to kind of zoom out far enough to really see what's going on, you know, not just in their lives, but in the world around them. So that really, you know, we can try to figure out a way to come to some common ground, you know, finally, because we're all just so, you know, desperately and hopelessly divided when you realize that your whole identity has been built on top of a foundation built on sand. You know, it's all been a lie. Then do you really know who you are, or are you just a version of, you know, what this system wanted you to be? So that's my goal, is to get people thinking on those super critical levels there, because you know, you got to get deep. Solutions in here.
I think my counterparts pretty much covered everything. So on that note, we're going to wrap it up for this week. We do want to thank everybody for being here, and we do want to ask you to go ahead and help us out. We're very new as far as the podcast. Obviously, this is our first episode, so thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Share the episode, like the episode, and, you know, subscribe, obviously, to the channel. We love you, or follow, whichever platform you're on. And be sure to join us next week. I'm thinking we're going to be doing
Exactly.
Thursdays, so look out for us every Thursday. Try State of Mind. Make sure you're here and make sure you're sharing. And we appreciate you guys. So
yeah. And
until
if you want to know what's coming up on the next episode, you need to be there.
absolutely, because we're not even sure yet.
Yes.
So we've got a million ideas to share with you guys, and I'm sure you have some ideas. So please share with us. Make sure you use the comment section. We would greatly appreciate that as well. So we'll
Yep.
see you next week right here on Try State of Mind.